Audio Jungle.
Mechanic charged after allegedly hitting police with vehicle in halfway tree. A St. Catherine mechanic has been charged after allegedly using his motor vehicle to hit a police officer who attempted to stop him for an alleged traffic breach in halfway tree St. Andrew on Wednesday. Charged with assault occasioning grievous bodily harm is 28-year-old Ronaldo Williams of Flint Close in Hellshire, Portmore. According to the Halfway Tree Police, about 5:59 p.m. on Wednesday, a policeman observed Williams disobeyed a red traffic light along East Park Road and signaled him to stop. Williams reportedly complied at first, but after a brief interaction, wound up his car wheels, ignored the officer's instructions, and then accelerated, hitting the policeman with the vehicle. He sped off but was later apprehended during an operation along Halfway Tree Road in St. Andrew. The injured officer was taken to hospital, treated, and released. Williams is scheduled to appear in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on October 3rd. No bail for St. Catherine man on murder charge. A St. Catherine accused of fatally stabbing another man during a vigil in Williamsfield earlier this year was remanded when he appeared in the parish court on Friday. The accused is 25-year-old Siobhan Mongoose McBean of Williamsfield District. The deceased is 25-year-old Kevin Robinson, otherwise called Maggie, also of Williamsfield. When McBean appeared before Senior Parish Court Judge Janelle Nelson Gale, it was disclosed that the case file remains incomplete. The court also heard that there were safety concerns for the accused if bails were granted. The judge subsequently ordered that an alternative address be found to facilitate any further bail application. Allegations are that about 1 a.m. on July 26, Robinson was at a vigil in Williamsfield when a dispute developed between him and McBean. McBean allegedly pulled a knife and stabbed Robinson 3 times before fleeing. Robinson was assisted to the Linstead Hospital where he later died. A report was made to the Riversdale Police, who launched an investigation that led to McBean's arrest on suspicion of murder. He was subsequently charged following a question and answer session. Analysts predict minor cabinet changes. Political watchers are not expecting any major change in Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness Napi's cabinet after being sworn in to form the government for a third consecutive term on Tuesday. Analysts Lloyd B. Simmet, Damien Garden, as well as veteran journalist Pete Sankey, have agreed that most ministers have become strongly identified with their portfolios and are likely to remain. However, they believe Holness will eventually need to reshuffle as some ministers prepare to step away from representational politics. They urge the introduction of new faces such as Member of Parliament-elect Rhoda Crawford, Audrey Marks, Chovia Hamilton, Deborah Williams, Kerisha Morrison, and Crystal Lee as reward for their performance in the 2025 general election, as well as Senator Rebecca Fitz-Headley. Garden shared that one of the good things for Holness is that the result of the general election saw most of the Jamaica Labour Party JLP candidates who held ministerial roles retaining their seat in Parliament. All ministers and state ministers who held seat in Parliament except for Norman Dunn, Minister of State in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, and Homer Davis, Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister, retained their seats. According to Section 69 of the Jamaica Constitution, cabinet members must either be senators or sit in the House of Representatives. The cabinet includes the Prime Minister and a minimum of 11 other members, with no more than 4 being senators. In terms of the current ministers, who I think have not necessarily made an impact on their roles and who I think the Prime Minister should consider shuffling them or moving from cabinet entirely, I think Senator Arbin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, is one. I don't think he has made an impact. His role has been completely negligible. And I think the Prime Minister should experiment with another option, said Garden. I feel the same way about Marlene Mullihu Ford. She does not execute confidence and she doesn't come across as learned in constitutional matters, which is a requirement of her role as the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. She doesn't come across as being very knowledgeable or an expert in the Constitution, and that has resulted in many blunders that have caused embarrassment in the government. So I think the Prime Minister needs to look at her role, he told reporters. He added that Minister of Finance Favour Williams might also be in trouble, not because of her lack of capacity, but because of public perception of her role. Over the years, I think we have had some very bold, assertive, and prominent figures assuming the ministry who has occupied a central place in the national government and how the party or the government is perceived by citizens, investors, and so forth. I'm not quite sure if favor rises to the character that we have grown accustomed to in terms of who our Minister of Finance is, he reasoned. Gordon predicted that new faces such as Audrey Marks, Delroy Williams, and Rhoda Crawford could be added to the cabinet, with Marks as a replacement for Hill in the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. I think the Prime Minister recruited Audrey Marks specifically for a ministerial appointment. I expected her to be added to the cabinet in some capacity. I'm thinking industry and commerce would be a good fit for her based on her background, Gardner argued. I think that Rhoda, based on the sheer magnitude of her victory in central Manchester and how pivotal it was for the government being returned, I think that she is likely to receive a promotion, maybe not as a senior minister but possible as a junior minister, he added. I also think that Prime Minister's intention to recruit Delroy Williams, who went to Central Clarendon, I think that the Prime Minister also has plans for him as well, and I also expect him to be included in cabinet in some capacity, he explained. West Jamaica Conference of Seventh-day Adventists awards $10 million in scholarship to 42 students. The Seventh-day Adventist Church demonstrated its commitment to holistic ministry when the West Jamaica Conference recently awarded approximately $10 million in scholarships to 42 students across Western Jamaica. Among the recipients were students from a range of institutions including Northern Caribbean University, University of the West Indies, University of Technology, Sam Sharp Teachers College, and Paralegal Training Institute. According to a release from the West Jamaica Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, the presentations were made on the final day of the conference's recent Territory Students, Professional, and Business Leaders Weekend, providing recipients with a strong start to the new academic year. I want you to know that we are not just interested in your spiritual life, but we are interested in your academic pursuits and struggles and want to be a part of the challenging moments of your lives, said Pastor Glenn Samuels, president of the West Jamaica Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Samuels expressed gratitude to the donors, noting that their generosity was directly transforming lives. We say thanks to those who have made the choice to give us the opportunity to give others a chance to experience meaningful change. We stand committed to the advancement of the welfare of our people, the clergyman noted. Serena McIntosh, a third-year medical student at the Caribbean School of Medical Science, was the recipient of one of the bursaries, which she says will help to offset her tuition cost. Receiving this scholarship has lessened the financial burden and has assured me that I am not alone on this journey. My church family is behind me, supporting and encouraging me, said McIntosh. Another recipient, first-year NCU student Raheem Clark, says he hadn't planned on attending university because neither he nor his parents could afford it and is deeply grateful that his church chose to invest in his education. Chevelle Brown, beginning studies at Paralegal Training Institute, called the scholarship a humbling, life-changing gift that filled her and her family with gratitude and joy. Meanwhile, Dr. Linton Edwards, president of NCU, lauded the West Jamaica Conference for broadening its impact through education. He noted that the church's investment in students demonstrates vision and compassion. I want to commend the West Jamaica Conference for the investment that it is making in our people, which is the greatest asset the church has. At this critical stage of their development, it is important for them to know the church loves and cares for them. This evangelism is at its finest, Edwards noted. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.